Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA. I'm your host, André Natera. Today I'm joined by Chef Edgar Rico and his wife and business partner, Sara Mardanbigi of Nixta Taqueria. They have received accolades including the 2024 Michelin Guide Young Chef Award, a 2022 James Beard Foundation Emerging Chef Award, Food and Wine's Best New Chef, and the recognition on TIME's 100 Next list. We get into storytelling, the parallels of chef culture and hip-hop. Stay tuned. Great restaurants don't always bring customers in. Great stories do. Because in food, beverage, and hospitality, what you sell is only part of the story. It's the why behind it, the authority you create, and the experience that you build. Market Scale turns expertise into content that connects. Podcasts, video series, and industry education. Not ads, assets. Market Scale has brought Run the Pass and How to Manage Like an Executive Chef to life. Real-world examples of how great content leads the conversation. Because attention is earned, and the industry doesn't need more noise, it needs more leaders. Did you listen to that new Clips album?
Yes, man. Clips and Pusha T and Malice, those two dudes, like right now, the way that whole rollout was in terms of like art, fashion, and like the whole thing that they enveloped with it. Like I remember hearing an interview that they were doing. They apparently produced that whole album with Pharrell at the Louis Vuitton studios in Paris. So when you hear that album, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like some old school like Neptunes kind of production that was like going on. And like it's true, I feel like hip hop at its truest form. I think, there's a lot of great things happening right now, I feel like in hip hop with him, like Tyler the Creator, Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist just released a new album. Right. So right now, I don't know, there's a lot of people that are bringing back, I feel like, the culture of like hip hop to what its truest art form was, which is bars, baby,
Yeah.
Bars, like real raps, real talking about the scene of like what is happening. They're like vivid storytellers,
Which I think is something that was missing in hip hop for a long time. I think the greatest era in hip hop, arguably for me, is like from 93 to about 2003.
Okay.
That decade.
I would say 92 only because NWA, also too, The Chronic.
Right. Okay.
Doggy
say,
style.
It's still on the shoulders right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was listening to NWA the other day, the second album, and I thought, man, this is so good. I forgot how good that album is. The production on it, the beats are good. They're saying crazy shit.
Yeah, of course. For that time. And especially, I mean, if you no way an album like that ever gets put out nowadays, because it's like, whoa, that'd be like canceled real quick, which totally understandable. Because
it's not even canceled. It's like, wait, am I listening to a murder? Is someone getting murdered?
Yes.
Are you confessing to crimes on this album?
Yeah. Yeah. Something anyone's lawyer would be like, hell no, you're not putting that thing out.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think really right now, the culture of hip hop, there are a lot of Drake stans out there. Not a fan.
You don't like Drake?
I think there was a time and a place.
You're laughing over there. Does he listen to Drake in the car?
Drake is so emotional. I think he'd be the guy who would just show up really sad at all the events, and you're trying to pick him up and make him feel better. But yeah, I mean, he used to dabble in some.
Yeah,
but
I think there was.
He wasn't like any of your tops.
Yeah, no, I think he did have a time and a place, where he was definitely making music that I thought, like, like his first album, like I just remember that track, like I Just Want to Be Successful, and I was like, that song, I was like, when he was in his early days, I was like, damn, that song's a banger. Like I love the message behind that. But I don't know, as he kept growing as an artist, you just kind of start to see, you're like, dude, you're just like a poser, man. Like you were trying to be this like fake hip hop like gangster that you're not.
So you think Kendrick smashed?
Kendrick murdered that guy. Like,
yeah,
when you get called.
I mean, but Kendrick has had an evolution in his style. He's stayed true to himself. But I think what I really enjoy about him is that there is such a like creative artistry in what he's doing. He's always repping his hometown. He's trying to bring people in from the culture. He's taking care of his people. So I think in that way, he kind of has this built-in loyalty, pun intended, that maybe other artists don't. But what I find, especially right now in like hip hop and food, I know and I'm a little bit outside my wheelhouse. I do enjoy hip hop, learned a lot more from Edgar, but what I've seen over the course of time anyway is how there's sort of a convergence of artists and food. And I know on the spectrum of hip hop, it kind of varies so much. So you have like a Travis Scott who kind of is in the realm of hip hop, but he recently did something with John and Vinny's. So there's a collaboration there. On the like spectrum of this isn't in hip hop, but hip hop adjacent, athletes who are sort of getting into things. Carmelo Anthony has a wine that he's coming out with. So for me, it's been really cool to see how all of these different art mediums are coming together and creating something new.
Do you think hip hop culture and chef culture are like very parallel?
I think so. You know, like hip hop artists are like renegades in a way. You know, they are the people who are storytellers. And in a way, if you look at that same parallel, chefs have always been those ragtag kind of people that didn't want the normal structure of 9-to-5 job and
Second chances, right? A lot of them getting out of,
absolutely.
culinary is a second chance for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean the hospitality industry has always been the kind of industry that will take anyone. I mean, you look at people like, I don't know, there was a story that ran recently on like the GM from Kraft in New York City.
Right.
The guy used to be, wasn't he like a felon? He had been in jail for a couple years. He came out, started working at Kraft in New York, and elevated himself to become the GM of this restaurant, making 6 figures. And he like preaches about that of like, hey, like this was an industry that took me in, taught me skills, taught me, you know, how to be a better leader, how to be a better person. And there's that parallel that you'll find all throughout the country. And we will take, you know, the hospitality is that industry where you can have a second chance at life. Like, you know, if I have someone that's gone to prison, I'm not going to be like, no, like, I'm not going to like discredit this person. I mean, if you have a hard work ethic, if you have the will and the drive to be there and know that you can elevate yourself within working in this industry, you can get as far as you want to be in this industry, as long as, you know, you're willing to put that work in.
Culinary saved my life. Like literally,
Yeah.
I was, you know, I grew up in a rough area and in El Paso, Texas. There was a lot of street gangs and things like that. You know, cartel stuff in Juarez going on all the time. So I kind of grew up around that. And if it wasn't for being a chef, and when I wasn't a chef back then, but if it wasn't for trying to become a chef, you know, I don't know what would have happened, but I felt like the kitchen was that same sort of, I don't want to say like street mentality in the kitchen back then a little bit.
Sure.
You know, 'cause you had the same people that were in the streets working in kitchens.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a creative outlet for me. And I was learning things. It was discipline. It was cooking. It was being, you know, around the gang. You know, when I say the gang, I mean the gang in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? Like your homies in the kitchen. It was fun. Like I love kitchen culture. It is kind of like hip hop culture because, like you said, it's the storytelling on the plate, but it's also
Absolutely.
the
It's a
story.
different medium, but yeah.
But yeah, a different style of art. Now I know you're a big believer, both of you are, in art. Like chefs are artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
But why? Because a lot of people have hot takes. Like, no, it's craft. No, it's an art.
I think, you know, becoming a chef and like presenting what you put on the plate is part artistry, because it's like people nowadays, people eat with their eyes. And, you know, how many times when you're at a restaurant, you will go out, people are like snapping.
Yeah.
So
That's all they do. They eat. It goes on Instagram first, and then they eat it second.
exactly. People always say the phone eats first. It's like people, for that reason, it's like, well, the thing that you are putting out, I think, does need to be in some way catch you visually. Like if something just comes out on a plate and it looks like slop and like crap, like that doesn't look appealing. But it's not to say something can't be like, you know, ugly delicious, you know. But at the same time, I think you have captivated someone when you bring something that's like visually stunning. You've already got them halfway reeled in with that. But then if you can accomplish it also too with having something that's like fucking delicious, it's like, you know, game over. So I do think, you know, at least when I'm creating a dish, like part of the elements on what I'm thinking. I'm like, there needs to be like contrast in color. There needs to be like, I don't like dishes that are all like monotoned and just have like one color. I just think that looks sometimes weird. But it is possible, you know. But I love creating a dish in the same way that someone's creating a painting. It's like, okay, like we're gonna start off with the base of the tortilla. And with our tortillas at the restaurant, you know, we usually like blending the masa. So I call them like a marbled tortilla. So
Right.
we'll put in different kinds of masa to kind of give you this marbled effect that's like a blue and white masa, or blue and yellow, or like a blue and red. Or even when we do the tasting menu, we'll give you like 4 different kinds of masa on the tortilla. So you get like a quad colored tortilla. So that's where I start off with the base when I'm constructing a dish. And then it's like, all right, where do we add the pops of color then too? For me, it's either going to be the protein or the vegetable. What is that protein or vegetable? Okay, how can we contrast that with, you know, an herb or a pickle or whatever? And I don't know, when you're coming, those are the things at least I think about in my brain when I'm constructing a dish. And then also too, the delicious part of it. It's like, there has to be salt, fat, acid, heat for me. So all those parallels are coming into like what's going into this. So in a way, it is like an artistry, because you're picking out like each one of those things. If you think about it, is kind of like a palette of color when you're like, oh, we're going to get a little bit of red in here, a little bit of blue, but you know, it's colors that you get to fucking eat. So
I think about the different side of artistry where, well, 2 things. One, there's in restaurants, especially, I think they draw inspirations from all over, right? They're seeing architecture, they're going to the theater, they're going to plays, they're listening to music that really inspires them. And, you know, recently we sent all of our managers on manager trips to do educational stages. And so on the other end of what we do, I would say the complete opposite. Our CDC Sara went to Alinea recently in the past month. And for her, it was all theatrics, right? Like everything is precision, everything is on time, but everyone has a function in what they're doing. But ultimately, it's bringing some kind of orchestrated show, right?
Yeah.
And whether that's your cup of tea or not, I think the way that chefs and the team around them thinking about the overall experience, because a restaurant is a form of entertainment, right? So you're taking the time, you're spending that money, you're doing these things because you're either having the best day or the worst day. There's really rarely an in-between when you're going to a restaurant. And we get to be kind of the conductors of that. So I always found that interesting of how from a chef all the way down to the dishwasher, right? Like what is each person's part in creating this artistic like expression of what they're doing? And then on the other end of it, I especially think about like the career as a chef or someone who is in the industry for the long haul. Like for a chef, for example, if you're going sort of the traditional route, you're going to culinary school, you're doing the externship, you work at all these restaurants. And I think very similarly to a traditional artist, you're building on that, right? Like every single year, you're adding something into that tool belt. You're getting inspired by other people that you're meeting. And that's often what happens with like, you know, people in music, people who do sculptures, people who write poetry. And I think in the way that we celebrate those who spend their life to a certain craft or a certain industry, if it's a doctor, if it's a lawyer, if it's a lyricist, whatever it might be, sometimes chefs don't get that same level of, I guess, grace as others do when they've dedicated the better part of their life to it. But yeah, I think we've seen.
Why do you think that is, though?
I think there is. I think for whatever reason, the hospitality industry, and I've worked adjacent to hospitality my whole life. It's how I grew up. My dad had a little cafe in Arkansas. My family's from Iran, so it's very like embedded in who we are. And so I kind of had a traditional background in finance, and then I was in international education, and then I was in events, and then eventually I got into restaurants. But the reason I think that there's this disconnect of, okay, these people deserve to have the benefit of the doubt, whereas chefs have to kind of constantly prove themselves and be scrutinized by the public is sort of by design, right? Like, where else, like, who else gets reviewed by strangers every single
On the
day
daily, yeah.
on the daily, right? Like, sure, you may have a law office and they get that, but it's as soon as one thing might be wrong, it's like, this is a 1-star, right? So I don't know exactly where that mentality comes from. It probably is a thing that is like a historical piece that has been like a part of the narrative, where if someone is serving you this food, they deserve to have every single thing thrown at them.
Well, and then also too, in the way I think about it too, it's like, I think sometimes in food, there's always a time when certain maybe things are in style, or it was the chef created maybe something that's like hot now and people are like going crazy about it, but maybe 20 years later, people are like, oh, this is no longer like that new hot thing or that, and it kind of passes, and people, I feel like, try and feel some type of way about it, where they're like, oh, like this is no longer what it was like 20 years ago. Like, I don't know, for us, and this is something kind of in a weird way, but like people talk about like the Thomas Keller thing that went on. For me, to this day, I still think that meal that I had, we went there 3 years ago to the French Laundry, one of the best experiences in hospitality and food that I've ever experienced. So for sure, it might not be this thing that was created, in the 90s that blew everyone's mind, but I think that food to this day is still relevant. People to this day, I think have him as this person who created this emphasis for chefs to kind of, give them a roadmap essentially of like, hey, this is the way you can run a kitchen and this is what you can do. And I think he made food in a way fun for people, where it didn't become this like crazy, like passe kind of like stuffy French dining where you would get like these massive courses. It became smaller. It became fun. It became, like she says, a very theatrical kind of way of dining. But I don't know. I think something like to this day, something like that still is relevant and holds a testament to the time of the kind of artist that he is. And yeah, I mean, who can't say that guy's not the GOAT,
Like when artists are alive and then they pass, and then all of a sudden the valuation of their art goes up.
Right.
It's the same thing when a restaurant goes out of business. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh, I really love that restaurant, but it's like people are not being active participants while it's happening. They're waiting till the song has ended, right? It's the one that got away, and then that's when they really start putting the value on it rather than appreciating it at the moment.
And what's interesting about, and just using the French Laundry as a restaurant, is that in art, we could look back and look at a piece by Michelangelo and say it's amazing.
Yeah.
We could look at something by Leonardo and say he's the GOAT, right? And we could appreciate modern art. And some people have a taste for classical art, and some people have a taste for modern art. But in food, for some reason, we do appreciate classical to an extent, but I think as chefs, us being the artists, let's call us the artists, sometimes we're chasing, what's current and what's ahead, versus just saying, you know what, fucking Thomas Keller's Leonardo or Michelangelo, right? Let him do what he does. Let them do what they do, because it's excellent, and it's when we could appreciate that, and he could do what he does, and we could appreciate it, and we don't need to knock it down while we do this type of art. It's a separate type of art.
Totally.
Yeah, I can tell you, I think since day one, and we're coming up on our 6-year anniversary in October, which I'm very excited
6
about.
years?
Yeah,
6 years in October.
When did you open? What year?
October 5th, 2019. So 6 months before.
I'm thinking back. Do you remember when we first met?
Yeah.
We met during a live fire, I think.
No?
Barton Springs Mill.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You guys were doing a tour there.
Yeah, we were looking for new grains, because we were looking. I was with my pastry team looking for new grains to make bread and and I think tortillas and things like that. And you guys were in the process of opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were with James Brown, the other James Brown, the farmer James Brown, who looks like Santa Claus. I love him. He's such a nice guy.
Was that before you opened, or you were in the process?
Yeah, that was before.
You guys were just getting started, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember when that trip was. I felt like it was in the summer because I remember driving up there and it was like pretty bright and sunny. But
yeah, because I remember talking to you then, and I think you were saying you were opening, and you were telling me the location.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend that lived on the same street, up the street from you all.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to visit. I was like, where? And I remember looking like, where's Nixta? Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's so crazy. Yeah, it's one of those things going back to that point of you know, there's something for everyone, right? And I don't think it's fair to do like an apples to oranges. This person is brilliant for the reason of this. This person is doing their own thing that we haven't seen before, taking inspirations of X, Y, and Z. And literally since this first day we opened until today, we get the like overhyped, overrated thing. And I think that's so often what you see in newer restaurants where it's like, no matter, like, you kind of chip away at different things, right? Like, we've never had investors since day one. We still don't. We treat Nixta like a home project where we reinvest in our people, we reinvest in the building, we reinvest in different things. And then if we get comments that are like, the backyard is just dirt. Okay, so now we have the funds and we just redid that. This, we didn't love the way that the service model was like this, so we adjusted a little bit. And so the goalpost kind of keeps getting further and further and further, so you address all these little things. And for me anyway, it's like there's so much good that overweighs that, right? Like, I've kind of made it a point every month, all the places that I had like recently visited, whether it's like a museum, a restaurant, a coffee shop, a bar, I go and I leave reviews, just like 5-star reviews of, genuine things that I loved about it, because those are the things that like give you the motivation. But so often the best things are happening on the ground in the restaurant. Like, I remember there was this woman who went up to her table. She's like, "Hey, what's going on? How are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, I just signed my divorce papers." I was like, "How are we feeling about it?" And she's like, "Fucking great." So I was like, "All right, let's go." So we poured her some champagne, we sent out some stuff. And those are the moments that really stick out to me of like, and I think this has always happened with artists, like right when they're alive, they maybe get shit on, they have these things that are said about them, but it's like, you have to just be yourself and believe in what you're doing. And then you have these like really memorable moments of seeing like families come in that they went from dating to getting engaged to getting married to having their baby, to having their baby have like the duck fat beans all over their face. And I think in the world of like artistry, you have to just kind of hold on to those like tender moments to be like, okay, they're the ones who like get it, like, let's keep doing our thing and be good stewards to like our community, to our friends, to our neighbors. And
this episode of Chef's PSA is brought to you by Foods in Season, your connection to what's wild, fresh, and exceptional. At Foods in Season, ingredients tell a story built on decades-long relationships. Wild Columbia River king salmon, dip net caught by native tribal families, fresh morels from trusted foragers, handcrafted pantry essentials like blease, bourbon-aged maple syrup, sherry 9 vinegar, and exquisite Prima truffle products. Top chefs nationwide trust Foods in Season for quality and consistency. Order today, have it on your line tomorrow. Visit foodsinseason.com and mention Chef's PSA and receive free shipping plus a complimentary sample box on your first order.
But yeah, I do believe like when you are coming into a restaurant space, it's like, I think it is our job for us to be able to create, it doesn't always have to be this over the top kind of thing, but those little things that you can do within hospitality or food to be able to like change someone's day up is so monumental. I feel like, you can come in and have something that's just so delicious that it instantly puts like a smile on your face. Like I can, went yesterday and had ramen del barrio. It was like, I hadn't eaten that in quite a while, but like that man's food, when you eat that, it brings just so much joy and emotion to me. Because one, I feel like I've been kind of like transported back to Japan in a way, like the vibe of it, the feeling it invokes. And those are those little things that like restaurants can do, or on the service end. It's like, Sarah can hear that little nod of you telling me those words that, oh, you just signed your divorce papers. And like, okay, I'm about to make this like an experience for you that you're never going to forget. So I think us getting to be like the conductors of someone's lives when they come in for just an hour and a half is really powerful. The things that you can accomplish and, really impact on someone's day that you can have by just them coming into your restaurant. And I think we as restaurateurs and people who have that, power dropped on our lap, like I think, we want to make sure that everyone just has a damn good time, like coming in and out. So yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how I'm thinking about this art thing. Like it's a controversial subject because my take on it is if you're an artist or you're a craftsman, I don't really care, just make it taste good.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Like call yourself whatever you want as long as it tastes good. You could do whatever you want. But I do think that it's a craft, but I also think it's an art. I think it's both. And I think it depends on how you're expressing it.
For sure.
And I guess, some might argue, say it's all art. Sometimes bad art is, whatever. But I don't think I think some people are working with the intent of being artists and other people are working with the intent of being craftsmen as chefs.
Totally. I think there's a parallel between the two. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I, go back to hip hop and, how culinary has evolved over the years. I think about like the French Laundry, maybe Thomas Keller's like the Rakim of chefs. Like without Thomas Keller or Rakim, there is no Wu-Tang.
Right.
And without Wu-Tang, there is no Cash Money and so on and so forth. But there had to be Rakim first.
Yeah, he's the foundation.
He's the foundation. Without Thomas, there maybe is no Alinea. There is no Noma, possibly. I mean, arguably, right? Or you could say without Ferran, there is no Alinea. There is no Mugaritz. There is no
Jose Andres.
There's no Jose Andres, right? So these people, like they are a lot of people will say these chefs go on Mount Rushmore, but I'm not sure if people ever really think about like why do these chefs go on Mount Rushmore?
Mm-hmm.
Because they gave birth. They gave birth to a whole section of culinary, which even though Grant's food today doesn't look like Thomas's,
Sure.
but it still gave birth. Like he got his training, he got his foundation there. Same thing with Corey Lee and Matthew Peters and so many other people, right? The French Laundry did that, and I think Restaurant Paul Bocuse did that, and Danielle did that. So many of these legends gave birth to, I even say Rick Bayless in a way, kind of
absolutely
gave birth to the Mexican food movement on a awareness, right? Because Mexican food's been around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, honest to God, like me watching Rick Bayless as a kid was the first time I had ever seen anyone cooking Mexican food that my mom didn't cook, and asking her like, what is he making? Like, he's making a black mole. Like, what on earth is that? And she kind of like started telling me like, okay, like there's, the food that I know how to cook is just from like this area, San Luis Potosí. Yeah. And like, these are the things that I know how to cook. But like, I'd remember watching his show on PBS and like, you would just I would be just so enamored by it. 'Cause you're like, damn, dude, like this dude is cooking Mexican food from places I didn't know existed. Right. Like food that I didn't know existed, but it looks incredible. So.
I learned as much about Mexican cooking from Rick Bayless as I did my grandma.
Yeah.
In a way, right?
I mean, because he was a teacher.
He was a teacher, right?
Right.
He explained things where my grandma just cooked.
Your grandma would be like, oh, a little bit of this.
Right. It has to have 3 peppercorns. 3? What if we're making more? No, it always has to have, that's what my grandma, I had to have 3 peppercorns or 3 cloves or whatever. I did a panel at the CIA in San Antonio years ago. And I was one of the panelists. It was for the World Flavor.
World of Flavors.
World of Flavors.
Yeah.
But it was like the Mexico edition.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Bayless was there. They brought in all these Mexican chefs from Oaxaca and I'm trying to remember who was there, but anyways, like all the big Mexican chefs were there. And I remember when Rick Bayless was done doing his demo, every single Mexican chef wanted to get photos with him. They all were lined up. Oh my God, it's Rick Bayless.
Yeah.
Like chefs from Mexico were so honored to be next to Rick. And I remember I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Like, so I got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, I mean, randomly. So
You did a dinner with him, right?
yeah, we did a dinner with him.
When he had his book, he did it at Nixta. We did stuff in Chicago.
Yeah.
One of our sous chef did his educational stage at Frontera and Topolobombo. So I feel like you're dedicating your life to the craft. And this is what we were talking about before, right? Nothing happens overnight. They are putting all of themselves, they're building all the skills, they're building the systems, they're taking the time, they're
Moved to
honoring
the
their
place. He
craft.
traveled. He lived
Yeah.
there for
So-
10 plus years and learned about the country, traveling throughout the country. So it's like, how can you not give that man his flowers? I feel like that dude has literally dedicated his life to the craft and and everything about Mexican food. And he's never opened any other kind of restaurants that are like non-Mexican. Like if he wanted to, maybe he could have opened like an American diner under his name, but he's always stayed true to who he is and the food that he's learned. And yeah, it's Mexican food.
He's also ripped. He's like,
Yeah. Also, yeah, like for
Like a young
60.
freak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's flexible. Wow.
What's
Yeah.
funny, when I was coming up as a young cook, we didn't cook Mexican food. Like, we cooked continental, because Mexican food wasn't, and again, I'm talking about like mid 90s to like early 2000s. It wasn't really taken serious.
It was like Southwestern food.
So-
Dean Ferry.
It was like Dean Faring, Stephen
Yeah, yeah.
Piles,
Yeah,
Mark
yeah.
Miller,
Yeah.
right? And so I worked in a Southwest cuisine restaurant early in my career. Like, I mean, it was like weird shit, like, grilled swordfish with pineapple salsa and just weird food at the time that we'd look at now and be like, why were you serving that? Under a corn husk or something like that, right? But so we had to, early on, if I wanted to be considered a serious chef, I had to work in continental European, French, Italian, things like that. And I never had the opportunity because I was and we've talked about this before. We talked about this on Flavors Unknown podcast.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. We did that years ago for the Mexican Independence Day. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Manual and Rick Lopez. Shout out to those guys. But I remember thinking, by the time I was kind of already wrapping down my career as a chef, I was like, now's when I should be making Mexican food. But I couldn't transition at that point.
Mhm.
And I think about how happy I am as a chef to see you being able to do it and shine and do food that's authentic to you and your culture, and you represent it so well. And I look at other chefs like Gabe or Fermin, all these guys, and so many others, right? So I'm not trying to leave anyone out, but it's like, wow, now my people, right, are able to do their food without feeling like they have to cook another culture's food first to get recognition.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to make sure I said that here. It's like, I'm so proud when I see you guys and how the success you've gotten, and it like, okay,
Yeah, no, and I think, to your point, it's like a lot of us, I mean, if you look at all these other chefs, you spoke about Gabe, Fermin, we also probably in our early parts of our careers didn't cook Mexican food either. I think all of us learning the different techniques and from other cultures and from other types of restaurants, and then blending that into the things that we grew up, the things that we know in like a Mexican point of view and a Mexican lens. I think this is like this new style, this, as like Jose Rolat called it, he called it like new Tejano cooking.
Yeah.
And it's very much true. It's like we're taking these other flavors and other things that you wouldn't maybe typically see in like traditional, as people call it, interior Mexican food.
Shout out to Jose Rolat.
Yeah, Jose Rolat, the goat of tacos and champions. And he's like a part of that reason why I think you are starting to see like this shine now on Mexican food. Like, when else was there ever in a time and place where there was a taco editor?
Right.
Like, I think...
And barbecue, I also feel like is parallel in
Absolutely.
shine as well, by the way. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, you saw 4 Michelin-starred barbecue restaurants that got...
Yeah.
That's huge, hoping this year that a Mexican restaurant or a taqueria one day would get it. It did get it actually in Mexico City, So I think it's cool to see that you are starting to see this respect finally put on the culture and people knowing the craft that it takes to make a tortilla. It's no longer this like cheap commodity product that it's like, oh yeah, it's like, yeah, of course this taco is $1, $2. Like those days are gone. Like those days are long gone. I feel like of the $1, $2 taco, unless maybe you live in the valley or something like that, where
Right.
things are a lot more affordable. But yeah, I think it's a cool new evolution, and we're in a cool time right now to see where we are with Mexican food and where it's going to continue to go.
Yes, it's so exciting. I'll tell you, like my friend Anastasia Quinones in Dallas, she's opening up something. She had
Chef AQ.
Chef AQ. Shout out to Chef
Hell
AQ.
yeah.
But she's in the process of doing her thing, and she's a phenomenal chef.
Absolutely.
Able to cook her interpretation of what Mexican food is to her. And again, Jose, I got a lot of respect for him because he has brought attention to what we are doing. You know, he shined a light on more than just what we always talked about. When I met Jose back in like 2010, when I was in Dallas, I was a chef.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. When he's like, I don't want to say he first started writing, but that's when I first met him. It was like
Okay.
2010. So I was cooking French food. You know, I had the.
Was he a restaurant editor?
No, he was a food writer back then.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't remember who he wrote for, but I remember I would speak to him all the time. He would come and check out my food for my French fine dining back then, and he was coming and writing. So I was cooking French fine dining, and he was writing about French fine dining back in 2010. And look at where we are now. Now he writes about
Tacos.
some of the
Way more
best
fun.
tacos, and I get to talk to my friends.
I remember the first day we met him, honest to God, I kind of was
Oh,
crap my
yeah,
pants.
that was during our
Friends and
reopen.
family.
Yeah, friends
Yeah.
and family.
I remember after,
We just invited random media people. I was like,
Yeah.
how do press releases work?
yes,
Oh,
put out a
this
bunch of
guy.
random emails. And then I remember after the meal, he was like, I just want to be honest with you. I didn't love this meal. And I was like, oh my God, like my heart broke. And he was like, I felt like you just had a lot of olive oil on things. And at that time I remember I went through almost like a whole bottle of olive oil that night, thinking I was like some Italian chef, just pouring on olive oil.
Yeah.
And he's like, it just didn't really taste like a taco to me. And that was one of those things I really remembered that really,
Respected that.
yeah, I respected that because I was like, damn, okay, maybe I think it kind of made me look inward in myself and being like, okay, dude, this is at the end of the day still a taco. We're not trying to have this be this Italian thing or this French or Japanese. It is still reverence as the taco. So something I remember I held on to really well. And, we cut back the amount of olive oil that we do on a lot of the dishes. Some didn't even have it anymore. And, he's become someone that we can text at any point to ask about recommendations, and he's become someone that I truly really love, and I love to see his writing and seeing how he's putting a shine on different parts of Texas that people aren't really talking about, in the valley, going Chef Annalise, he gave her the #1 taco in the state of Texas. She is truly one of those taqueras.
Have you met her?
Yeah, she cooked with us.
Sweet.
Yeah,
For our 5-year
for
anniversary.
a 5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
We invited a bunch
Did
of
she win a
chefs.
James Beard?
She won the James Beard 2 years, not this year, the fall last year,
Yeah.
for Best Chef Texas. But yeah, she is a taquera who is representing the Valley 956. She's putting food that is true to her in every way, and she's making fresh nixtamal. She's hand rolling flour tortillas, without a person like Jose to give him that spotlight and giving him that light, a person like her, I feel like back in the day really wouldn't have been found. So I'm grateful to him that he's doing the work of driving all across Texas and finding those places that people aren't really talking about and giving them a voice and giving them some
No, he's putting in the work. And I don't remember exactly what the connection is with El Paso with Jose. But I remember we connected over that year again, 2010, because I'm from El Paso, and I don't remember if he's from El Paso or someone where he goes there often or whatever. But it's nice to see what he's done to prop up the food of people that maybe weren't getting their shine. And now I feel like the shine is a lot more equal.
Yeah,
Right. It's more evenly distributed
for sure.
in 2025 than it was in 2005. So I think that's pretty cool. I want to go back to hip hop really quick.
Are y'all about
Sneakerhead.
to throw down? And
No,
do-
sneaker. You're a
Are you about
sneakerhead,
to-
right?
Absolutely.
Because I also feel like sneakers. It also kind of a little bit in hip hop culture.
Yeah.
Do you wear
for sure.
sneakers in the kitchen?
Yeah, for sure.
You do?
Oh yeah, like I don't ever wear. I don't
slip around.
We got some mats, you know. Oh, we got mats. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
But I never wear like the fresh Crispies. Like I'll wear some like beaters that are now like, you know, at its like 2-year mark. But if I'm not wearing sneakers, I'll wear Crocs. I'm sorry, Crocs or some Birkies.
Yeah.
It just depends on the day and what kind of day my feet are having. Or I'm like, do I want to look fresh? Do I want to look fly? Or do I want to just wear something that's like just I want to feel like I'm on a cloud?
So I feel like I'm not saying that Chef James Kent, rest in peace, started that trend, but he did bring a lot of attention to chefs wearing sneakers in the kitchen. I think
Absolutely.
you see a lot of
Sneakers on the pass.
sneakers on the pass, right? You see that now. I'm not a sneakerhead, only because I like certain shoes. Like I'm not that into it.
Okay.
But I will say I do like certain shoes. Like I like, like the original Converse, or I like the Nike Cortez. I like, and so
Classics.
I was on a group text with Gabe and Mike Diaz the other day,
Okay.
and Gabe Morales, shout out to those guys. And you see my new hoodie?
Los Cocineros.
Cocineros. Yeah. So I send it to him. I was like, hey, this is my new hoodie. I'm going to bring some Cholo stuff. Like Just Cook is one of my things, and I have an old English hat now that says Just Cook on it. So I'm like, I'm bringing the Cholo style back to the chefs. But Mike Diaz, so I got to make sure I give him credit. He said, you should make Nike Cortez Crocs for the kitchen.
I mean, okay. This is something we just talked about. Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent of, like, if you're a fan of what someone is doing,
Yeah.
the worst they can say no. And so I always reach out and I'm like, I love what you're doing. I think you're dope. Would you be open to this? And like 9 times out of 10, they say yes. We have one of our regulars who happens to be someone who, like, we really admire. And I reached out. I was like, hey, is a chef shoes something that we can do? Because ultimately out there, it's just kind of sad options. There's not much like style or flair to it.
Yeah, it's always like the classic like Birkenstock, the plastic one that's horrendous, the Croc that's like with the non-slip, also another just like sneaker. Like I don't know, there's just not like the chef shoes that are out there are just not shoes that I'm personally prone to like wearing.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not my
I
style.
like Mies footwear. I mean, but again,
I do like the new boot they made, the Chelsea boot.
yeah.
I thought that one was pretty dope. And I love the like non-slip kind of outpull, but I mean, there's not a lot of options if we're talking about.
But as far as like sneakers go, there's not.
Yeah, I see like chefs as a type of athlete where they're creative, they're doing stuff, they're on their feet, they need something, and ultimately a lot of them are stylish, you know.
Yeah.
So how do we, like, if there's a capitalistic side to it, it's like it would do well, but
how would you not want to tap into the biggest like
Nike Cortez, hit me up. We
Yeah,
do the exclusive
exactly.
Chef's
Like-
PSA edition.
like
Exactly.
this is a pipe dream. So if anyone's out there and can make this happen, go for it. But
yeah, I mean,
it's one of my goals for Edgar. Like Edgar's sort of my muse, right? And I'm like, okay, how do I kind of finagle something to make this happen? But ultimately, you know, we met James, R.I.P. And he was just this like person that was full of life, so lovely, and I just know that, you know, that was part of his legacy. How do you create something that is like memorable to other people? It's sort of this timestamp, and it was just, you know.
I remember that dude the day we met him when we were cooking at that event. He was wearing Travis Scott's, and I was like, dude, you're wearing like $5,000 sneakers while you're cooking. I was like, that's a bold move. I love it. But yeah, you know, it's like, I do believe, like she's saying, it's like, why wouldn't a company like a Nike or Adidas, Converse, anyone that's listening out there, you know, want to tap into the food industry of people that are like one of the biggest employers.
We all have to have shoes.
We all have to have shoes.
We all need shoes.
We're all gonna need shoes that are non-slip, that are like things that you can wear that are safe in the kitchen. And if you look at it in kind of that stylistic mindset of like, hey, like chefs are athletes in a way. When I'm cooking, if I'm cooking on the line, and I'll look at my like burn meter of how many I'll burn like 1,500, 1,800 calories in a day from just cooking on the line. So it's like, how is a chef not an athlete?
Who was the artist who literally made shoes for space for NASA? What was his
Oh yeah,
name?
Tom Sachs.
Yeah, Tom Sachs. So I'm like, if they're making shoes for astronauts, like I think we can maybe do some stuff for.
There's more of a market for
Philip Spear had, what did he have? I don't know if they were Adidas. I think they might have been Adidas, but they look like conchas. Did you ever see them?
Oh, yeah.
They were like I think they were pink and they looked like conchas.
They were Adidas.
Yeah. I was like, those were fucking cool. I had to get a photo of them. We did a dinner together, and he wore them in the kitchen that day. We did a dinner with AQ in Dallas, and he's wearing his conchas, and I was like, that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
Phil brought the concha shoes. I only met James Kent once in my life. We were in Vegas for a Mentor BKB Bocuse qualifier thing, and he showed up, and rest in peace. I wish I had more time with him, because the short time that I spent with him, I was like, this dude's cool. He walked straight up to me. He's like, I guess we're the only ones with a beard here. And then we just kind of hit it off and started talking then. That's the only time I've ever met him. But talk about a great chef that we lost, and
absolutely.
Tragic.
No, we had met him literally like 2 weeks before he passed. We were in California doing an event, and we had met at that initial like dinner, and then we had got to talking. We hit it off really well. We were hanging out. Yeah, he could have gone anywhere, but he had asked us that day. He was like, hey, what are you guys doing after this? And we're like, oh, I think we're gonna go into LA. We're gonna go have some lunch. He's like, can I join you guys? And we're like, damn, like, yeah, let's go.
I think the beautiful thing about him is how he really like genuinely uplifted his team. Like he elevated them to all have ownership and like accountability and pride in what they were doing, and put these people in positions that he was like, I'm taking a step back. I'm here as a mentor. I want to see you all shine. And I think that is like the mark of an amazing leader. And he left like such a beautiful legacy behind for them to, do what he wanted them to do, which was to just crush it.
Yeah.
Proud of what you're doing, and don't leave anything on the table.
I want to ask you, because we've lost a lot of really great chefs over the past few years, and it's really tragic to see. But one of the downsides of this industry, and you could argue and say it's some of the dark side of the industry, is the pressure that we deal with.
For sure.
And there's a tremendous amount of pressure that people don't see. They only see what's on Instagram. They see the happy faces, and they see the pretty food pictures, and like I like to call them the chef thirst traps, right? It's like, oh, look at all pretty this looks. But a lot of people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. And I want to ask, I'd love to hear your side of it, because you've received some incredible accolades. James Beard Award, Michelin, right? Food and wine as well? Food and wine. I mean, the big three. You've received the big three, right? James Beard, Michelin, and food and wine. With that comes a ton of pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you deal with it? Because, and I'm kind of setting you up a little bit, by the way, with the question, because I know I had a period of time when I was a younger chef where the success came too quick for me, and I wasn't prepared to deal with it, and I kind of struggled with it. I didn't think I would, but when it really happened, it's like, oh, I'm really struggling with success. What people don't see, and I'm just curious, because you've had a tremendous amount of success, the big three, very quick. How have you dealt with it, I guess would be a better question.
Yeah, so, I think when we had initially opened, our plan was to never have anything more than just like a neighborhood taqueria. I don't think we had even ascended to like even thinking about we could win a James Beard, we could win Michelin, or a Food and Wine Best New Chef. These were aspirations and goals that absolutely I had, but I didn't think from this scrappy little restaurant that we had built that we were going to ascend to this. Like, I was like, well, maybe if we do good with this one, maybe once we get the restaurant that has all the bells and whistles, we'll eventually have that. But as all the things kind of started coming in, I think for me, some of this pressure started mounting because people, I think, when you do win these awards, they expect maybe, oh, this person won a James Beard or has like a Michelin. They expect maybe like table service and like white tablecloth and like service, but then you're eating literally, quite literally in a backyard of a restaurant, you know, a 10,000 square foot backyard. But, you know, for me, I think it was definitely at first a lot of pressure mounting of like, oh my God, like I think people were kind of maybe turned off by it at first, that they were getting something that wasn't a traditional restaurant model, because our restaurant isn't, you know. We're a counter service model restaurant, you know. We strongly believe in this and what we do because it allows us to pay people higher wages. It allows everyone in the kitchen to get tipped out. So the dishwashers to the servers to the bussers, everyone is a part of it. So why doesn't everyone get tipped out? So that is something that we'll never compromise on. So yeah, it may lead to you having to wait in line for a little bit of time, and then you go into a backyard to go sit on a bench that we've handmade ourselves, you know. And for some people, I think they're kind of turned off by that because I think in their mindset have this idea of what they think an award-winning restaurant is, that they think it should be shiny and bright. But you know, I think for me, that first year, especially after James Beard, it was a lot of things kind of thrown at me. And I think for me, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing, one, having someone that, like my wife, Sarah, that is there to like kind of calm me down, calm my nerves of like, okay, like maybe we need to adjust this thing, but I think for myself, having that belief in myself and the vision that we were doing, that this is the right thing, and maybe people might not get it, but not everyone has to get it, you know. Art is that thing that people isn't meant to be loved by everyone. Some people are not going to like that, and that's okay, as long as we truly believe what we're doing is we're putting our heart and soul into this thing, and it is the right thing to do for us and for our employees. Then we're gonna, you know, continue forward with that. But for myself, some things that I like to do to kind of, you know, calm my nerves or just like not think about food is like some days when I'm not in the kitchen, like don't just kind of want to turn my brain off and like don't have to think about food. So I don't know, other hobbies I like to explore, love exploring art, love going to art museums to kind of get inspired by other artists or other meetings of art. F1 too has become a recent obsession. Love following Formula One, and we're lucky enough to get to work with F1 directly now, working with the Aston Martin team. So I don't know, there's other things I feel like where I have to kind of just turn my brain off and not think about food for a little bit and kind of just let my mind wander, or just turning on an album of hip hop and just like vibing out to it and just like kind of appreciating that art. And I think you have to have that balance. I think you can't just fully be immersed in food all the time because, you know, you're just going to go kind of nuts. I think you have to have this other hobbies and other things that you're doing in your life that aren't food related to give you that balance.
How do you protect yourself from, I don't want to call them energy vampires, but sometimes when you're successful, you have all these friends that you never knew you had.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When you're on top, everyone loves you. And again, I'm just using myself as the example. I realized that early when I was younger, when I had some success, I realized I had a lot of people that were around me that probably weren't around me because they liked me, but because of how I made them look.
Sure.
So how do you protect yourself from that? Do you have any strategies?
She can always call the bullshit.
You smell the bullshit a mile away?
Yeah, I'm definitely protective over Edgar because he is someone who is immensely just gregarious and open and excited about a lot of things that come. I'm sort of the barrier to entry of what are your intentions with my daughter? It's like, what are your intentions with my husband sort of thing. I am a little bit more cautious about someone's intent of why they're in the mix. One thing that is like really beautiful about what we've done is that it has opened the door to all these new friendships, which are very genuine. For the Food and Wine Best New Chef class, we have a Food and Wine Best New Friends. And so
That's cool.
It's all of the best new chefs, and we're celebrating each other. We're saying, oh my God, let's go. Congratulations, Nando, on the Michelin. Like
at the Michelin Awards a few weeks ago, like Architect Threat was blowing up.
What was the official award that you received? This is like
For myself?
Emerging Chef. That's right.
And so when we're coming along this, I try and vet it the best that I can. We do get a lot of inquiries, a lot of things, a lot of DMs directly to Edgar and to myself. So I actually have a secondary email that is Edgar, but it's actually me.
So smart.
Yeah.
Do you want me to cut that out?
No, I mean right. No, yeah, it's to kind of block out one. Truthfully, I'm not the best with emails. I do kind of let her kind of usually handle a lot
Signal
of the business.
Noise, right? Signal and noise.
Yesterday, right? Juan from Desnudo reached out a couple days ago and said, hey, I just want to pick your brain about a few things. And this was actually one of them of how do you know when to say yes, when to say no? And sometimes you don't know. You have to base it on like some research, who they are, what they want to do. Does it align with like the things that you want? Does it provide some like other opportunities that you're interested in? I remember like we got an email from the State Department saying like, we want you to be an ambassador, culinary global ambassador. And I'm like, this is spam, right? Yeah. And same thing with Aston Martin F1. There's, I would say more often than not, it's like very pure intentions. Yeah. And it's brought in like so many positive things, like Norma and Sakib from like Masala and Mayus in Mexico City. We went and ate there. We formed a friendship. They came for our 5-year. More often than not, like the insulated part of the friends that we've made have always been a part of the hospitality industry. And for that reason, it's been more of like pure. But yeah, for sure, there's been some people, it's like, maybe there's a little bit of an energy vampire thing. But I always think it's also like a give and take. So when we were first starting out, there were a lot of people who gave us a chance. And so we try and have that same mentality. Yeah. If it's like Comadre, who popped up at Nixta for a year in our backyard every weekend, and then sort of help them in the journey along the way. But I would say like, just do your research on them. Don't say yes to everything. Sometimes they'll get burned and that's okay. But more often than not, I think lead with that they're coming from a good, positive place. But yeah, I for sure am like everything kind of.
And then usually like if it goes through her and we'll actually meet with them, I think it's like a vibe check automatically of like, do we fuck with you? Like
well, I'm the same way. Like with me, it's like I would advise people say yes until you could say no.
Right.
Say yes at the beginning. Then
like I'm not signing anything like just based on like a sure, okay.
And then eventually you get to the place where you can pick and choose what events you want to go to, who you want to partner with. But I think early when you're starting to build your career, you got to say yes to more things. You got to You got to do everything.
You got to do some of those free things where you're like, because especially for us, like we've never paid for PR, we've never paid for marketing. People ask us all the time, like, who's your PR firm? Who's like, and you're like,
it's really just both of you.
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
There's no, mostly her.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's a big job.
No, yeah.
And I do think something I'm really proud of is that from the beginning, people are like, you're never going to be able to win anything if you don't have PR. You're never going to be published.
Like, you'll never be introduced to the publishers, the editors.
Yeah. And that's like a point of pride for us where it's like, I know organically on our own that like people came for the reviews. People did these things because of just who we are and what we built. Yeah. And not based on like the relationships that were pre-existing.
Mm-hmm. So, and the food is great, by the way. The food is great. And I remember when I ate there, you styled me out. I think you gave me everything on the menu. I felt like I sat outside and everything was really amazing. The food is really, really incredible. So if people haven't tried your food that are listening, they should come try your food.
Absolutely.
I want to, sorry. Did you?
Oh, I was going to say, and then I would say the other biggest catalyst for ourselves to like de-stress is travel. I mean,
right.
Absolutely. I think travel is something that is so important to who we are and how we operate also as a company. We close down the restaurants 2 times a year, 1 week in the winter, 1 week in the summertime, to let our team kind of reset, relax, and kind of just get their brains right. Like, they shouldn't have to be cooking all the time. I think people, when they get out of the kitchen for a week to see what other things are going on. I think it gives all our cooks and our staff like a time to kind of refresh and kind of get themselves right for the upcoming season. Because I in Austin now, there's like essentially like 2 seasons now in a year. It's like hot summer and like really cold winter. Like I feel like there's no spring and fall anymore. Like it's kind of just one or the other. But you know, I think those times are imperative for our team to kind of get them ready, because like in the wintertime, like after January, when they come back in, it's kind of a slow buildup. And then, you know, March to June, it's like bumping. And then, you know, we'll give them July to reset. And then it's kind of like a slow buildup into the fall. Because like, you know, July, August are significantly always been our slowest months of the year, you know. But then you start rolling into September, October happens, and October is just like a complete crazy shit show with ACL that happens and Formula One that happens and all the other things kind of happening during October. October is that month where, at least for us, it's like we know this is where we're going to capitalize on a lot of events.
Chef, normally when I wrap up the show, I start asking people like how it feels in your kitchen. First question is it a green tape kitchen or is it a blue tape kitchen?
Blue tape, maybe.
Blue tape. Team blue tape.
I want to convert to green tape. You can see things better.
That's what I'm saying.
For now, it's blue tape, but I would like to go into green.
Maybe year 6 we start out with some new tape. Yeah, I've never been a green tape person, but no. But
I was a blue tape person. I've switched.
Yeah.
Only because you could read better on it.
This is true, because when you are using like a darker font, you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. Good point.
What about the music in the kitchen? Do you play music in the kitchen?
Depends on who's.
Yeah, it depends who's working that day.
Okay, when you're working,
when I'm in there, I have like a hip hop playlist that I play that is just like high upbeat, up tempo kind of.
What's on it? Give
Kendrick
3
Lamar.
songs. Kendrick.
There's gonna be some Wu-Tang, some Run the Jewels. It's kind of a ebbs and flows kind of.
I have a Chef's PSA hip hop playlist. People could find it on Spotify.
Ooh, okay.
Like I did a dinner with Sarah Hurd at Foreign and Domestic recently, and they played my playlist, my hip hop playlist. I was like, is people gonna be okay with this? Like it's a lot of 93 to 2003 hip hop.
Yeah. But then sometimes too, like depending on who's the staff too that day, like sometimes like if it's in the morning and I'm prepping with all the ladies, like I'm going to be playing some like Tejano, Ranchera, Cumbias for them, some Selena for them. Cause like they don't want to listen to my fucking hip hop. They're like, turn that shit off. Like we don't care. But it's usually if it's like a bunch of line cooks and it's the nighttime, like I'm wanting just like high upbeat, like hip hop.
What's the salt? Diamond Crystal?
Morton's. I'm a Morton's.
Why Morton's?
A
lot of people are Diamond Crystal.
I don't like the Diamond Crystal because I think it's too fine. I like the Morton's because it's a lot more coarse and I can feel the salt a lot more on my fingertips.
Every chef I've asked that to, only you and Kevin Fink.
Yeah. It's a point of contention for sure. We're in the middle of
I don't like Diamond Crystal because I think it's too fine and I feel like I oversalt things when I'm using.
So it's probably because you grew up cooking with Morton's, right? You like the feeling.
Honestly, my mom used like Iodized Morton's as a kid.
No, I mean in the kitchen, like as a chef.
Yeah.
So you get used to seasoning either with sea salt or Diamond Crystal or whatever. Morton's. Interesting.
Yeah. Morton's Kosher.
Morton's Kosher. Shout out to Morton's Kosher. They don't sponsor the show.
Yeah.
And then finishing acid. If you had like an all-purpose finishing acid, is it vinegar? Is it lemon? Is it lime?
Limes. Lime. Yeah. Limes finish 90% of our dishes at Nixta. Like there's 3 things we always call them, like the big 3 at Nixta. It's like olive oil, lime juice, and malted sea salt.
So Baldon's the finishing one. That answers the next question. Okay. Last question. Food related. Is there something that you do in your kitchen that a lot of people listening could benefit from that isn't a widely known practice?
I think for us, it's that reinvestment back into your people. Something that we do that I don't think is very common is we have a re-education fund for our staff. So if you've worked with us for about a year, we will give you $1,000 to go learn about something, whether you want to go stage at a restaurant, whether you want to go learn about a wine harvest, whether you want to go learn how to make fresh chocolate in Mexico, whatever it may be. We give you that opportunity to go do that. You can use your time off. You can, because once you work with us, you get 40 hours of paid time off once you worked with us for a year. So something that it's like something that we truly believe in like re-educating our staff to keep them curious, because when they go do these stages or go do these trips where they go learn, they come back with a wealth of knowledge that, you know, then you can use to, you know, your benefit in the restaurant, because they've been inspired by these new things. And maybe it might be something that I'm not familiar with. Like, I remember one of our chefs, she went to go learn about chocolate. I had no idea anything about chocolate, but her coming back with that new knowledge is something that we were able to then use within the restaurant. And I don't know, like for you, you've had like people that have gone and learned about wine and.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of the jobs I'd worked with in the past, they had a professional development fund. So that's something I wanted to implement in our restaurant. So they've done harvest in Napa. They've taken butchery classes, fermentation classes. Someone's doing like embroidery. So we have a facilities manager. And so now she like embroiders a lot of our stuff. So it's like a, you know, an ecosystem of, you know, having a curious mind, constantly learning. And that's the number one thing we look for in our team. So that's really where we
Gotta
go.
be a lifelong learner.
On the dining team.
Last question. If you had a Mount Rushmore of chefs, 4 of them, who goes on Mount Rushmore?
Okay.
From Jose Andres.
Jose Andres, TK, Enrico Vera, I think, for me. I think that man is pretty special.
Yeah, mom.
I mean, my grandma, I think, is up there. But, I would say then Escoffier.
Escoffier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do a whole episode on Escoffier.
Yeah, I mean, that man is the foundation.
What do we got here?
All right.
Before we leave, what do we got? Thank you
Uh,
for the gift.
okay, of course. So, something we really love at the restaurant making. I'll let you open it. Oh, yeah. Sauces is something we're really big proponents, advocates on. So a little bit of salsa matcha. So it's like a Mexican chili oil, essentially,
I could see that.
that we have. And then our lacto fermented hot sauce. So just some fermented Fresno chilies with a little vinegar, a little garlic.
It's going to be on my lunch today.
Yeah,
Awesome.
for sure.
So speaking of like reinvestment, like we try and cross over things that our team does really well. So someone on our team who does our murals, she also did all the like graphics for it. So we did a recent
It's
reprint.
very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
It kind of echoes some things around the building, and then with the hat, and with the shirt, Isaac, who he made a little
Love that
jacket.
shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
We love, that's something that's a big thing. It's like we love,
Let's trade
Creating
shirts.
art.
I'll send you one of these. You send me one of those.
absolutely, we got you.
Awesome. Where can people find you?
You can find us over on East 12th Street, 12th and Cedar. You can
In
find
Austin, Texas.
in
Come to
Austin,
Nixta.
Texas, yeah, on Dozen Street.
2512 East 12.
And then on social media?
At Nixta Taqueria on all platforms.
Awesome.
Minus TikTok, not yet.
Minus TikTok.
We have a TikTok. It's inactive. There's some silly videos of me catching like. Anyway, you'll see.
Well, thank you very much. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chef.
Cheers, y'all.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. You know what to do. Make sure you leave 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere, really. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. I'd completely revamped the Chef's PSA store, shop.chefspsa.com. My team added a ton of new items. I advise you to go check it out. Just peruse, look around. Maybe you see something nice that you like. Keep supporting the show. Go to chefspsa.com. You get books, obviously the merch, early access to episodes on Substack and Spotify for premium members. We'll see you next week. Hit the porno music.
Yo, it's André in the kitchen, mixing, dropping chef knowledge, no fiction, stirring up the beats, heating up the session. Listen close, class is in session.